Hello, and welcome to 5 Minute Math. Today we are looking at parent functions. This is A.7C Readiness Practice, the Proficient version. If you're interested in exploring the A.7C Readiness Practice for the intermediate or advanced versions, or the Algebra 1 Readiness Practice for any other standard, you can find those by using the link in the video description. So we've got two different graphs here. So the parent function of f of x equals x squared is going to be right here. It's going to be this dashed line. And then I've got a transformed function, right? So our f of x is our parent function, and we can call that a transform function. Sometimes we might call it a child function. It's going to be this, h of x. But we did some things besides just flipping it over the x-axis. We did some other things. It doesn't seem like it's quite as, it's wider than the other one. So let's talk about that. First, is h of x vertically stretched or compressed compared to the parent function? All right. And then we need to state the value of the vertical scale factor. So let's talk about what we're typically doing is we'll leave it like this. F of x equals a x minus h squared plus k. Each of these letters, the a, the h, and the k, they do things for us. Okay. So this A right here, if it's on the outside, this is a vertical stretch or compression. And it depends on whether the value is greater than 1 or between 1 and 0. And then we've got this H. This is a horizontal shift. So this actually gets you your X value of um, your new vertex, and this is your vertical shift, your K. All right, so first let's talk about that vertical stretch or compression. Okay, so it looked like it didn't vertically stretch it. If you vertically stretch something, imagine pulling that graph and then pulling it down. Because if you're pulling it down, right, you're going to end up multiplying it by 2, by 5, by 10, by 100. Every time you multiply it greater than 1, you end up stretching it, and it ends up becoming skinnier and skinnier. So if this A, right, is going to be greater than 1, then it is a vertical stretch. And what does that vertical stretch look like? It looks like it's skinnier, okay? It's a skinnier graph because you're vertically like pulling it up or down. And then if your A term is still got to be greater than 0, but it's less than 1, then it's a vertical compression. You're taking like the top of it and you're pushing it down. Okay, so it's going to end up being a wider graph because you're compressing it vertically. And that h of x does look like it's wider, right? Because look, I've got this point right here, 2, -2, but up here, the x value gets to 2 to 4. Okay, so two things are happening. First, we're vertically compressing it because the h of x is wider than f of x. Okay, so we can say h of x is vertically compressed. It's wider. Now, we need to state our a term. First off, what we didn't say before, but hopefully we kind of intuited, is if that a is negative, that's why we had absolute value. If that a is negative, you're going to reflect it over the x-axis. So it's negative because we reflected it over the x-axis. Now we need to take 2 points, right? So my x of 2 went to 4 if it's right here. So then my my h of x went to -2. Well, what happened? First, it became negative, but then my 4, if we take the absolute value, got cut in half. So it looks like what we're doing is we're multiplying the f of x by 1/2. And we'll probably always use a decimal here, 0.5. Look, if you take your x and you multiply it by that 1, and you multiply by that negative 0.5, you're going to get that y of negative 0.5. It goes from 1 to negative 0.5. So there's that vertical stretch, and you just have to evaluate what happens at certain x values with the between the f of x and the h of x to kind of figure out what's my scale factor. Now, has the function been reflected? Yes, we already discussed it. Yes, we can say it is flipped over the x-axis. Now, let's write a complete algebraic rule. It didn't look like the vertex got shifted at all. So we don't need to worry about the h or the k here. We're not shifting it horizontally or vertically. We're just vertically compressing it. So we can say h of x equals negative 0.5 times f of x. And that's all we did. We just take your f of x and we multiply it by negative 0.5, and you end up getting your child function of h of x. So let's get some green right here. All right, for number 2, no graph, but they do give us the equation. So we have another vertical compression right here. Notice that a term, okay? It's less than 1, but it's greater than 0, so it's a vertical compression. It's going to get wider. And now we have an we have a k, excuse me. This is your k term. So it's going to be a vertical shift. So we're compressing it and shifting it. There is no h term. Okay, so we've already discussed this. This is a vertical compression. And I'll tell you why. We'll say because, and let's just do it with an inequality. We can say 1/4 is less than 1, but greater than 0. So that's the rule there. And describe the effect of adding, what does that 3.5 do? It translates the vertex. It is a positive 3.5, so we can say up 3.5 units. And then let's figure out the coordinates of the vertex. All right, we didn't do anything with it. There is no h. We didn't shift it left or right. We only shifted it up. So the x value is going to stay the same. The y value simply becomes 3.5. Now, other than that, the graph is going to look different because it's going to be vertically compressed because we're multiplying it by 1.4 or 1/4, but it's not asking us about that. Finally, we've got number 3. Look at all this stuff happening here. We've got f of x is x squared, right? G of x is negative 2 times f of x plus quantity f of x plus 1, and then plus 8 on top of that. So let's list all the transformations. All right, so I'm going to do that down here. I'm going to give myself a little bit of space to list my transformations. And let's just go from left to right. So what we have is, first it's a negative 2. So it is, we need to first say it's reflected over the x-axis, and it's reflected because it's negative. Axis, we can say because, and I'm just going to call it A because this is our A term, right? This is our A, this is our H, this is our K, because A is negative. And if you ever see a term right here on the inside, right? Like sometimes that A term might be on the inside of the f of x, that's just a horizontal compression. So typically you'll see a vertical compression, but sometimes you'll see a horizontal stretch of compression if that A is on the inside of the parentheses. All right, so we have, it's a reflection. It's -2. Okay, so it is a vertical stretch. So it's going to end up being skinnier. All right, because we can say because absolute value of A is greater than 1, it's 2. Now we've got our H and our K. We can say vertex shifted. All right, so here's the thing. Remember, it is A, and then we can say, we haven't had to do this with this video yet, x minus h squared plus k, right? That's what we typically look at. It's x minus 8. So in order to get an x plus 1, this is what I need to have. I need to have an x minus -1 in order to get that x plus 1. So that h is automatically negative, so it ends up being positive. You end up having a negative because two negatives make a positive. So that's the tricky part with the h. So it's shifted, so it's plus 1 unit to the left. I'll say because this is not a anymore. This is h equals -1. And that vertex is not done moving. It is shifted. What do we have? Plus 8. 8 units up. And it's because, now that's just a plus k. So if it's a positive, then it moves up. If it's a negative, it moves down. Because k equals 8. So 4 things are happening just because of this. All right, so that's going to be these transformations are going to be right there. Now, what is our vertex? Well, our vertex, we just need the h and the k. So our h is -1. The nice thing is your vertex is just going to be your h and k. So if you've identified your h and your k, you're good. So what is my h? -1. What is my k? 8. There's your vertex. And then we need to write the simplified quadratic equation for g of x in standard form. Okay, so I'm going to do that. Let's do that down here. Give ourselves a little bit of room. Simplified. Okay, so let's do simplified right here. So what do we have? We've got -2. All right, we can say g of x equals -2. And then we've got this f of x plus 1. But what is f of x? F of x is x squared. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make this x plus 1 squared plus 8. So I'm just going to kind of take that f of x out, and now I'm just looking at g of x. All right, so now I need to distribute out that x plus 1, right? So that's going to end up being -2, x plus 1, x plus 1, plus 8, right? And then so we're going to get -2, leave that on the outside, right? You get x squared. I'm using FOIL here, right? I ended up with 2 x's plus 1, and then plus 8. Now I need to go and distribute out that -2 to all those terms. So -2x squared. -2 plus +2x is going to be -4x. -2 times +1 is -2. I needed to do all that because I've got like terms. I've got the -2 and the plus 8. So I need to end up with combining those two. So it's going to be -2x squared minus 4x plus 6. And if you really wanted to, right, you could factor that out. You can say, I'm going to factor out a -2, and that's going to end up being x squared plus 2 minus 3. You have to flip everything, right? Either one of those works.